बाल विवाह अन्त्यको लागि किशोरीहरूको नेतृत्व।
I have had the most interesting and different day today. I watched a young girl take over my seat as an ambassador of Finland to Nepal and take the lead of the embassy. It's the usual perception that girls, especially girls with disabilities, don't have the abilities to take charge. That's wrong. That's something that I have witnessed today. And there are things that you don't even think about, like how to communicate with persons with hearing impairments. It takes some effort, and especially here, it might be difficult to find the interpreters that are needed. But, of course, you need to be able to communicate with the persons. I have learned a couple of things today myself. In the past, I have dealt with persons with disabilities, but here in these local circumstances, it's still sometimes a bit more challenging. But Ramila, she was just phenomenal. She took charge. She was brave. She was talking to everybody without any hesitations. Talking in the sense that she was using the interpreter. And for the girls in Nepal, never doubt. You can do it. With the right attitude and some perseverance, you just go ahead and do it.
It's very important for all of us at the delegation that young people, particularly young women, and particularly young women who have disabilities, are given opportunity.
नमस्कार, म रमिला। म आज एक दिनको फिनल्यान्डको राजदूत बन्ने मौका पाएँ। धेरै खुसी लागेको छ। मैले एक दिनको फिनल्यान्डको राजदूत बन्दा धेरै कुराहरू सिक्ने, बुझ्ने र आफूलाई लागेको कुराहरू पनि सल्लाह सुझावको रूपमा राख्ने मौका पाएँ। फिनल्यान्डले नेपालमा रहेर के कामहरू गर्दो रहेछ भन्ने कुराहरू थाहा पाएँ। जस्तै उहाँहरूले चाहिँ शिक्षाको क्षेत्रमा, स्वास्थ्यको क्षेत्रमा, सरसफाइको क्षेत्रमा कामहरू गर्नुहुँदो रहेछ र युवाहरूलाई पनि सहयोग हुने कामहरू, अनि त्यस्तै गरेर अपाङ्गता भएको युवाहरूको लागि पनि काम गर्नुहुँदो रहेछ। अनि त्यस्तै गरेर मैले सल्लाह सुझाव दिँदा एक दिनको फिनल्यान्डको राजदूत बन्दा मैले के सुझाव दिएँ भने आगामी दिनहरूमा कार्यक्रमहरूमा अपाङ्गता भएका व्यक्तिहरू र बहिरा नागरिकहरूलाई पनि समावेश गर्नुहोला भन्ने सुझाव दिएँ।
Namaste and welcome to yet another episode of 𝗦𝗂𝗵𝗶. Every Friday at 7, we bring the real stories of girls across Nepal through various platforms of Plan International. And today we have very wonderful guests with us. And without further ado, I would like to invite both of them to the show. Welcome to the show, His Excellency Petri Puhaka.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
And I'd also like to welcome Ms. Ramila to the show. Hello and welcome to the show, Ramila.
Yes, thank you.
So before we move on to a very heavy session, I will start with a very light session, and it's like how you are feeling right now. Anyway, like, the weather is very cold outside, and what's your feeling right now?
So I'm thrilled to be here. It's my first ever podcast in my life.
So I'd also like to hear from Ramila. How are you feeling, Ramila?
I'm okay, and now I'm happy.
So we'll talk much about how she took your role yesterday, and also about our campaigns that we conduct throughout the year across country. So there are lots of things that we bring girls, we give leadership to them. And for you, how important it is for girls to take the leadership role?
Of course, if they don't take it, they will never get it. they need to be taking it, and we need to be providing them possibilities to take it. And these kind of events, these kind of programs, they are the way, one way to give it.
That's one of the way to bring the leadership at the front. So what was your feeling, Ramila, while you were taking the role of the ambassador yesterday?
मलाई हिजो एक दिनको फिनल्यान्ड को राजदूतको रूपमा कार्यभार ग्रहण गर्न पाउँदाखेरि धेरै खुसी लागेको छ। हामी जस्तो पिछडिएका बहिरा अपाङ्गता भएका व्यक्तिहरूले यस्तो मौका पाउँदाखेरि हामीले आफ्नो भविष्यलाई अगाडि बढाउन सक्छौं भन्ने लागेको छ।
While hearing the stories of hers, like we have lots of minorities groups that we are here in Nepal as well. So what I would like to hear from you is how it is different from Finland. Like you have also worked with people, lots of people there. So what's different do you find working there and working here in Nepal? Like how you interact with diverse people around?
The diversity here in Nepal is much greater than in Finland. Of course, like the social composition of the population is changing all the time. So we are getting as well more diversity. In my previous role as Ambassador for Disability Inclusion, I was dealing a lot with persons with different types of impairments. There, I think we have both things to learn from each other. Here you have the community stronger. Well, in our case, maybe the regulation and what we are getting from the authorities is bigger.
So the diverse communities, like we are here working, even in your embassy, there might be lots of people working. So how important it is for you as a ambassador to include everyone and to make it inclusive?
That's basically within the Finnish society and culture. You need to be inclusive, and of course, here I'm still fairly new, so I'm having the difficulty of just understanding how many different features there are, even in one embassy. But I will try to do my best and learn.
That was from the perspective or the background of your work. So what I want to learn from Ramila is like how difficult it is for her to even reach the places like that. How it makes you feel like when you are taking the role, and how inclusive you felt while you took the role yesterday.
मैले एक दिनको एम्बेसडरको रूपमा रोल प्ले गरिरहँदाखेरि मलाई धेरै खुसी लाग्यो, किनभने हामी जस्तो समाजमा पछाडी बसेको अब बहिरा व्यक्तिहरू अथवा बहिरा नागरिकहरूले केही पनि गर्न सक्दैनन् भन्ने जुन समाजको धारणाहरू छ, व्यक्तिहरूको त्यस्तो मान्यताहरू छ, त्यसलाई पनि हामीले चिर्दै अगाडि आउन सक्यौं। मैले यो मौका पाएँ, मेरो लागि यो धेरै ठूलो कुरा हो।
As Ramila has mentioned about the difficulties as she has to face it might be during her school days or even in her family, or just casually walking around, or in her daily routine. So what do you think, like what roles can actually the position like yours can actually play to eradicate this kind of difficulties for people who belong to the minority communities?
Well, I would say that first we need to raise the awareness and just tell the stories. It's sometimes it's very hard to even understand or recognize the difficulties that they are facing if it's not being brought up in the discussion. So for us, it's first bring it into discussion as well and create the possibilities for those kind of for all types of persons to be involved.
Reflecting towards Ramila's queries, like she mentioned it offline, when we were off air, she told us how she felt like the discrimination prevails in her society or in her own family. So raising awareness is one side of the coin that we see, and what can be other things that we actually can incorporate in our daily routines as a a person or as from a profession.
Create the case, why is it that they need to have the voice as well? What are the added values that those groups can bring? There many times you have a lot of groups of different persons with impairments that are totally capable of working and contributing to the society. Then it's for us to make it possible.
So it's about possibilities that we see, right? So while talking about the possibilities, I would like to hear the practical stories that Ramila has to share. Ramila, could you please tell us about the difficulties that you have encountered with in your daily routine?
जस्तो मेरो घर परिवारमा सब ठिक भए पनि अन्य साथीहरूको लागि समस्या छ, किनभने अब बहिराहरू व्यक्तिहरूको लागि सञ्चारमै समस्या हुन्छ। जस्तो मेरो साथीहरू घरमा बिदाको समयमा स्कुलबाट जाँदाखेरि उहाँहरूलाई कम्युनिकेसनमा समस्या भएको कुराहरू पनि सेयर गर्नुहुन्छ। विभिन्न कामहरू गर्नको लागि अब सुन्ने व्यक्तिहरूसँग कम्युनिकेसनको कुराहरू भयो, अन्य काम गर्नको लागि बहिराहरूलाई समस्या छ। जस्तो बहिरा व्यक्तिहरूलाई रोजगारीको समस्या पनि छ, किनभने अब कम्युनिकेसनै मुख्य समस्या भइदियो त्यो कारणले।
So while talking about the difficulties we have encountered with, like how we are not able to communicate properly, or even we are not even able to have access to good education because we don't have enough materials, or even if you look at the materials that are provided that do not even have enormous vocabs. So to not have the standard education, but also make it inclusive for all, and also improve the academic and curriculums for every student that goes to school.
Well, we will need to work with all the levels. We will need to work with the federal, we will need to work with the provincial, we will need to work as well with the municipalities and local governments. Because first of all, you need to get the curriculum right, which is inclusive. That's something that we have been doing for many, many years already. And I hope that the results will be there soon. But then as well, it's not enough to get the curricula and regulation proper. You have to have the implementation on the ground. And that's something that will be taking time and effort. But when you as well can change a bit of the way of thinking and the attitudes towards what it means to be inclusive, then I think we'll get there.
So it's very important to make your curriculum inclusive. For a student like Ramila, what do you think will be more appropriate for you if government like Finland and Nepal cooperate and work together to make more inclusive curriculum for you?
नेपालमा बहिरा व्यक्तिहरूको लागि बहिरामैत्रै पाठ्यक्रमको विकास भएको छैन। सुन्ने व्यक्तिहरूलाई शब्दहरू सुन्न बुझ्न धेरै सजिलो हुन्छ भने हामी बहिरा व्यक्तिहरूलाई गाह्रो हुन्छ। हामीले अब पढ्ने विषयहरू पनि जबरजस्ती जस्तो पढिरहेछौँ, आफ्नो इच्छा अनुसार पढ्न पाएको छैन। हिजो मलाई एम्बेसडरको कार्यालयबाट एउटा किताब उपहार अथवा मायाको चिन्हको रूपमा दिनुभयो। त्यो किताब म पढ्न त सक्छु, तर धेरै शब्दहरू चाहिँ बुझ्न सक्दिनँ, किनभने साइन ल्याङ्ग्वेजको शब्दहरूको कम विकास भएको कारणले। फिनल्यान्ड राजदूतावासबाट धेरै शैक्षिक गुणस्तर सुधार गर्नको लागि सहयोग भएको छ। त्यसमा चाहिँ बहिरा अपाङ्गता भएका व्यक्तिहरूको लागि विशेष सहयोग गरिदिनु हुन अनुरोध गर्दछु।
Summarizes with hopes that she wants to receive, or she sees in the embassy as itself. So before we move on to next segment, let's break the intensity that we are having right now, and just let's have a very quick fun game. So I'll just say 5 words, a quick 5 words, and let's see who gets it, quickly, whether you or Ramila. So I'll just say 5 words, and you just have to, instantly reply to that words. Okay, are you ready? Maybe a thumbs up or... Okay. Let's get ready. Your favorite Nepali food?
Buff stew.
Okay.
मलाई नेपाली खानाहरू प्राय सबै मन पर्छ। हिजो राजदूतावासको उहाँको निवासमा हामीले जुन लन्च गरेका थियौँ त्यो पनि मिठो लाग्यो।
Okay, a word that describes leadership to you?
लिडरशिप भनेको चाहिँ कुनै पनि व्यक्तिहरू जुन पिछडिएको हुन्छ उहाँहरूलाई अवसर दिएर अगाडि ल्याउनु हो जस्तो लाग्छ।
Integrity.
Your favorite childhood memory?
Fishing with my grandfather at the summer college.
मलाई भलिबल खेल्न धेरै मन पर्छ। बच्चा बेलामा हामी साथीहरू धेरै सँगै खेल्ने, रमाइलो गर्ने, अब जुनसुकै प्रकारको खेलहरू पनि खेल्थ्यौँ, रमाइलो गर्थ्यौँ।
Do you know how to play volleyball?
Well, I know the rules, but I haven't been playing in many years.
Have Ramila ever fished? You went out for fishing?
छैन, मैले अहिलेसम्म माछा मार्ने अथवा फिसिङ गर्ने काम गरेको छैन।
Maybe someday Ramila will teach how to play volleyball to you, and maybe you will teach her how to fish. Yeah.
I have already taught my 3 daughters how to fish, so it would be easy.
So you have to teach us as well.
रमिलाले सोध्दै हुनुहुन्छ पेत्रीलाई, हजुरलाई भलिबल खेल्नको लागि कतिजना खेलाडीहरू चाहिन्छ थाहा छ त?
Depends whether you are playing professionally or you are just playing for fun. For fun, you can have many players, but professionally, I think then you would be needing to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
हामीले भलिबल खेल्दाखेरि 2टा समूहमा विभाजन भएर खेल्छौँ। जम्मा 9 जना हुन्छ अनि 6 जना चाहिँ ग्राउन्डमा हुन्छ भने 3 जना चाहिँ एक्स्ट्रा प्लेयरको रूपमा राखेर खेलिन्छ।
No, we have been mostly playing for fun. And then you play for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
As much as you want,
Yeah.
right? If you have the power to teleport to yourself, where else you want to see yourself right now?
Right now, oh no. I think I would be somewhere in 𝗬𝗲𝗿𝗀𝗵𝗶 on a beach.
मलाई अहिले घर पुगेर बुवा आमासँग भेट्न पाएँ भने चाहिँ खुसी हुन्छु भन्ने लागिरहेछ।
So last question, one dream for girls in Nepal.
You can freely choose what education you want to get, and you can freely choose whom you want to share your life with.
जस्तो एम्बेसडरले भन्नुभयो एजुकेसनको बारेमा कुरा गर्नुभयो, तर मैले चाहिँ आफूले चाहेको जस्तो विषयहरू शिक्षाहरू चाहिँ प्राप्त गर्न सक्दिनँ, किनभने त्यसमा साङ्केतिक भाषामा पढ्नको लागि दोभाषीहरू अनि सङ्केतको व्यवस्था धेरै न्यून रहेको छ। म भविष्यमा ब्युटिसियन बन्छु अनि त्यही सम्बन्धी काम गरेर म जस्तै साथीहरूलाई त्यसमा काम गर्ने अवसर प्रदान गर्छु भन्ने लागेको छ।
So that's what we talk about dreams. Now let's come to the reality that we share in Nepal. We have recently launched State of the World's Girls report, where it has been mentioned that Nepal still is very highest at child marriage in South Asia. So what this number of girls being married at early means to you, Ramila?
म स्कुलमा क्याप्टेनको रूपमा पनि रहेको छु मेरो होस्टलको, र म त्यहाँ साथीहरूलाई यो दुर्व्यवहारहरूको बारेमा अनि यो बाल विवाहको विषयमा अन्य खराब कुराहरू खराब कुरीतिहरूको बारेमा पनि सजग गराउँछु, त्यसलाई नियन्त्रण गर्नको लागि सहयोग गर्छु। हिजो मैले सामना ग्रुपसँग पनि भेटघाट गर्ने मिटिङ गर्ने अवसर पाएको थिएँ। त्यहाँ उहाँहरूले बाल विवाह सम्बन्धी काम गर्ने बाल विवाहलाई रोक्ने कामहरू गर्नुहुँदो रहेछ, त्यो सुनेर खुसी लाग्यो।
So whatever she said is how she's empowering herself in the harsh reality she has to face every day. But cases might be different in the Finland, how their youths are there, or even the cases of child marriage. Does it prevail there or not? We don't know much. So can you please share about the cases there and also how it's important, to educate young people, to educate everyone to empower themselves?
Yes, like the prevalence of child marriages in Finland is quite low, and well, sometimes when the geographics change a bit, so there might be some increases. But in principle, I would say like you have to have the proper education, which is including as well like education on sexual rights and health, and you have to make the parents aware as well that the girls have the same right to finish their education. They have the same right to make the career. So having a child marriage and then like taking that dream away is something that should not be done. So it is basically education as well then like getting the mindset right.
So as you mentioned that you have to aware parents as well, or how important do you think it's not about the parents or the teachers, and also it's also about the communities, as it says it takes a whole village to raise a child. So how does the whole system is there, how it differ from the system that we have here in Nepal?
It is fairly different because like your cultural beliefs are also norms are so different from ours, and you have some old let's say traditional norms which cannot be said to be fair. So in our case, well, we have been democracy for a bit longer than you have, so like your society is still quite young, so there need to be some proper thinking about what kind of society do you really want to live in, and get that idea through in the communities as well, the community elders, whoever are those who are like shaping the attitudes, because child marriage or like early pregnancies of girls, they are just like, as I said before, they are taking away the dreams that they should be living in.
So it's about how we are being shaped in everyday basis, like how we have been taught to do everyday activities, or how we have been implanted with our thoughts. So while talking about how we have been shaped up by our communities or by our parents, what do you see as a young girl being educated, a young girl having dreams, and what do you want to see a future like, or even the ambassador or even the government doing for you?
बहिरा व्यक्तिहरूको लागि बजेट विशेष गरी छुट्याउनु पर्यो, जस्तै विभिन्न कार्यालयहरूमा दोभाषीको व्यवस्था गर्नु पर्यो। म चाहिँ 2-3 वर्षको उमेरमा कान नसुन्ने भएँ भनेर मलाई अभिभावकले भन्नुहुन्छ। यदि त्यो बेलामा सञ्चारको सुविधाहरू अथवा हस्पिटलहरूमा पनि दोभाषी अथवा डाक्टरहरू पनि त्यही अनुसारको हुनुभएको भए मेरो कानको जाँच उपचार हुन्थ्यो होला, सायद म कान सुन्न सक्ने हुन्थे कि मैले उपचार पाएको भए म पनि सुन्न सक्थेँ होला। त्यो कारण बहिरा व्यक्तिहरूलाई चाहिँ सरकारले विशेष ध्यान दिन आवश्यक छ, बजेट छुट्याउन आवश्यक छ। यदि बहिरा व्यक्तिहरूको लागि बजेट विशेष बजेटको व्यवस्था भएर उहाँहरूको समस्या समाधान गर्न सक्यो भने उहाँहरूलाई पनि केही राहत मिल्थ्यो। यस्तो विभिन्न समस्याहरूबाट चाहिँ उहाँहरू बच्न सक्नुहुन्थ्यो।
Suffering has always been linked to the pain that we have to endure. So while we are hearing how she mentioned about the infrastructure were not proper, or even she could not get medical treatments at the right time, there are lots of cases, and there are lots of these cases which make it very difficult to even survive for another day. So what do you think as ambassador, as a person who is there in the embassy or even the government like Nepal, can actually work on infrastructure or even on the medical system, or just facilitating everything so that a person doesn't feel that is apart from the society?
Once you start planning, you need to hear the voices of all people involved, because then it will be much easier to be as well constructing buildings, like even the physical infrastructure, like regulations that take into account the specific needs and specific features of all the groups. You have the persons with disabilities with different types of impairments. You have the hearing, you have those with hard to see, you have those with physical, those who need to be using wheelchairs. If those needs are not taken into account in the beginning, it will be much harder and much more expensive to correct the situation. So in the planning phase, listen to all people involved.
Systematic planning is very important, and I hope that will be more practical in the future. So we are almost at the end of the segment. So we have our very last question. So as you took over the role of ambassador yesterday, what were your reflections from your experience?
हिजो एक दिनको राजदूतको रोल प्ले गरिरहँदा मैले धेरै कुराहरू हेर्ने र अनुभव गर्ने सिक्ने मौका पाएँ। जस्तो विभिन्न संस्थाबाट आउनुभएका व्यक्तिहरूसँग भेट भयो। त्यस्तै गरी मलाई फिनल्यान्डको त्यहाँ एम्बेसीबाट चाहिँ गिफ्ट दिनुभएको थियो, जस्तो कप दिनुभयो, किताब दिनुभयो, त्यसमा चाहिँ त्यो चित्रहरू थियो। त्यसबाट पनि फिनल्यान्डको त्यो पुरानो इतिहास बुझाउँदो रहेछ भन्ने कुरा थाहा पाएँ। हामीले दिउँसोको लन्चमा त्यहाँ जाँदा कुरा भएको थियो, अनि त्यहाँ आइसक्रिम पनि हामीले खायौँ। अनि त्यो बेलामा मलाई एम्बेसडरले भन्नुभएको थियो आइसक्रिम चाहिँ फिनल्यान्डमा जाडो समय पनि खानुहुन्छ, त्यस्तो धेरै मनपर्छ भन्ने कुरा थाहा पाएँ। फिनल्यान्डमा फलफुलहरू धेरै प्रकारको पाइँदैन रहेछ। मैले त्यहाँ साउनाको बारेमा पनि बुझ्ने मौका पाएँ, जुन चाहिँ फिनल्यान्डमा निकै प्रसिद्ध अथवा प्रचलित रहेको रहेछ। हामी EU को अफिसमा गयौँ। त्यहाँ गएपछि विभिन्न व्यक्तिहरूसँग भेट भयो, अनि उहाँहरूले गर्ने कामहरू जस्तै युथ साउन्ड बोर्डको बारेमा पनि थाहा पाएँ। EU मा मैले आफ्नो सुझावहरू पनि राखेँ, जस्तो उहाँहरूले विभिन्न विद्यार्थीहरूलाई छात्रवृत्तिको व्यवस्था गर्नुहुँदो रहेछ। त्यसमा अपाङ्गता भएका व्यक्तिहरू पनि समावेश गरेका छौँ भन्नुभयो, तर बहिरा व्यक्तिहरूले अहिलेसम्म अवसर पाउनु भएको रहेनछ। उहाँहरूलाई पनि समावेश गर्ने मैले सल्लाह दिएँ। हिजोको दिन मेरो लागि एकदमै स्मरणीय रह्यो। मैले हिजो गरेका गतिविधिहरू, कुराहरू म स्कुलमा फर्केर साथीहरूसँग सेयर गर्ने गर्छु। हस्, धन्यवाद।
So that was her experience. So I just want to hear in very short how it felt for you, watching a very young girl taking your position yesterday.
It was very interesting to see, and it was kind of a proof that when you are brave enough, it doesn't matter when you are young or not, or old, but if you are brave enough, when you have the right attitude, you can do it. Just don't doubt yourself, just do it.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here with us today and for giving us the platform to learn how embassy works, or even how inclusion is very important in your embassy as well. And it's very wonderful to have Ramila with us today, where she mentioned about her experience. And I think this was not just about the podcast, but how it breezes the embassy and the young people here in Nepal. So I look forward, and I'm very hopeful that the embassies, and you being the ambassador yourself, you will do anything in your accord to make it more inclusive and make it more powerful in coming days. And this will not only be an opportunity, but also a dream for girls like Ramila who can see it in a very wide days. So I'm very hopeful for that. Thank you so much for your time and your presence.
Thank you for inviting me here.
And thank you so much, Ramila, for being so cheerful and for sharing your experience. I hope you see whatever you want to see, and you vision whatever you have in your widest of your dream, and see beyond your horizon. And I love to see someday taking the role of Nepal ambassador in some countries. Yeah, so that's my dream for you.